Low-key geek.
Hey,
He's a low-key geek. He tries to be out there when he wants to be, but hey, he's a low-key geek.
oh, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Low-Key Geek podcast. What's going on, guys? It's Renee here from Low-Key Geek. I know it's been a while. I haven't had a new podcast episode in the last couple of weeks. Spent some time actually just restructuring kind of my workspace, and then I was doing a lot of work on Twitch the last couple of weeks, and to positive results. So been really busy, but glad to be back, and I should be back on my normal podcast schedule moving forward. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for watching again. For those of you watching, this is not live this week. I decided to pre-record this episode for this week. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to continue doing the live podcast or possibly just going forward with a pre-recorded version, but I'll figure that out. But I'll make sure that regardless of what I do, that the episode is available as usual on Mondays, hopefully around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for updates there. Like I always say, if you ever wanted any updates during the week, best way to do it is either subscribing to the channel or following me on social, where I usually tend to make my updates there. But without further ado, let's move into things. It was a pretty decent weekend. I watched a lot of stuff, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. But like I usually like to do, why don't we dive into some of the weekend charts here? But for the first time in months, we actually have box office numbers for the first official studio release that came out over the weekend, and that is the movie Unhinged, which is Russell Crowe kind of like road rage thriller. And like I said, it's the first studio release to come out since the whole pandemic started. But it was released and played on 1,823 theaters and pulled in just a little above $4 million. So with studios starting to gear up and release their movies out into the world, into the atmosphere, and we have several states here within the United States that have movie theaters back up and running, we're going to start seeing some decent numbers, or at least some numbers coming in throughout the week. This week, for example, we already have two major releases coming out, where we have New Mutants and Bill and Ted 3, Bill and Ted Save the World. Tenet is also in the mix there, as they're gearing up their release globally to countries who are fully supporting open cinemas and states within the US. So we're going to start seeing some weekend numbers here, guys. So, like what I said when I first started this podcast, one of the things I really enjoyed was always reporting on weekend numbers, box office numbers, and all that. See what you guys were watching out there, and so on and so forth. So let's see what results come in. It's still kind of up in the air as to what the impact's going to be like with the pandemic, and with not 100% of the theaters open, especially in major metropolitan cities like California and New York. So it'll be interesting to see, nonetheless. And also when you have movies like Bill and Ted 3, which is also releasing on premium video on demand, I'm sure the numbers are going to be somewhat skewed because of the availability changes compared to other movies in the past. So yeah, so looking forward to report to see what is going to be coming up there. But for the rest of the weekend, why don't we dive into what was the top video on demand according to iTunes there? So coming in at number one, you have The Silencing. The Silencing is kind of, I believe it's like one of those thriller, kidnapping type of stories. It stars Nikolai Coster-Waldau. You should be familiar with him and his work from Game of Thrones. And basically, the synopsis here is, a reformed hunter and a female sheriff get caught in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they set out to track a killer who may have kidnapped his daughter 5 years earlier. So it just was released last week, so no surprise that it comes in at number one there. At number two, we have a new movie about Tesla called Tesla. This movie, this time, we have Ethan Hawke, who plays the visionary inventor Nikolai Tesla, sorry, and how he fights an uphill battle to bring his revolutionary electrical system to fruition, then faces thornier challenges with his new system for worldwide wireless energy. So that was also recently released, so that comes in at number two. Number three, we have The Vanished, which stars Thomas Jane, Anne Heche, and Jason Patric. And it's a movie that is a family vacation takes a terrifying turn when a couple discover their young daughter has vanished without a trace. Stopping at nothing to find her, their desperate search for the truth leads to shocking revelations. So that comes in at number three. Number four, we have the unrated edition of Fantasy Island. This is the Blumhouse kind of horror twist to the original Fantasy Island IP, which used to be an old TV program back in the day. This came out some time ago, before the pandemic. So interesting to see it here in the top 10. But like I've said in past weeks, horror is huge, and a lot of people have been really enjoying their horror films, especially watching from home. So no big surprise that it finds its way back up in the top 10 here. At number five, you have the new Shia LaBeouf movie, LaBeouf. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. I like to say LaBeouf because it sounds funnier. But you have his new movie, The Tax Collector, which is kind of his action drama type of movie. The movie has been getting a lot of coverage, mainly because of what Shia did to his body for this movie. He apparently got into full character for this role and fully heavied up on the tattoos on his body and got legit real tattoos to portray his role in this movie. So that comes in at number five. Number six, you have the Dark Knight trilogy, and I have a feeling because of the weekend, and I'll talk more about that. There has been a renewed interest in Batman as of recent. So no surprise that comes in there at number six, and I believe it was on sale too. So again, not surprised that this was something that was heavy on people's radars there. Number seven, you have Made in Italy. This is a movie that stars Liam Neeson, and it's a movie, basically a London artist and his estranged son try to mend their relationship as they work together to repair a dilapidated house in Italy. So that comes in at number seven. Number eight, Watchmen, the Zack Snyder movie that came out some time ago. Again, I think because of the weekend, a lot of people have Snyder on their radars and they want to catch up on his previous movies. And personally, I enjoyed this movie. I know a lot of people had some gripes on it, especially fans of the graphic novel comic book series. But me, I actually enjoyed it, and I actually enjoyed a lot of the acting in it. So if you haven't checked it out, I do think it's worth the watch there. So get it? Watch The Watchmen. Who watches it? I hope you do. Coming in at number nine, you have 1917, this war drama movie that is shot in a single shot type of aspect there. I've spoken a lot about this movie in the past, so I'm not going to go further into it, but that finds its way back in the top 10 again. And then rounding out the list here, you have Ford v Ferrari, the movie that kind of retells the story of Ford and Ferrari and kind of their partnership and battles back in the day. This stars Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Two great performances by these two guys. Really, really great movie overall. And I remember I did like a full review about it in one of my earlier podcasts, but definitely worth the watch. And apparently, a lot of people wanted to catch it over the weekend. So, really good stuff there. Moving on to what you guys have been watching on Netflix. So, over the weekend, number one, you have Lucifer. They just released the latest season of this popular TV series, so a lot of people were catching up on that. So that comes in at number one. Number two, you have the Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie Project Power, based off of a graphic novel. This is a Netflix movie, so that comes in at number two. I know a lot of people have been watching this since it first came out, and it's been in the top 10 for the last 2 weeks, I want to say now. I have yet to catch it, but it is in my queue, and I will be sure to review it, or at least provide my thoughts on it once I do. Number three, you have Drunk Parents, which is kind of a comedy that stars Selma Hayek and Alec Baldwin. And basically the premise is, after one too many drinks, two parents come up with an elaborate plan to hide their ever-increasing financial difficulties from their daughter and judgmental social circles. So I don't know anything about this movie, but apparently people were in the mood for something to laugh at. So that comes in at number three. Number four is another comedy here called The Sleepover, which stars Malin Ackerman, Joe Manganiello, and basically the premise here is siblings Clancy and Kevin discover that their seemingly normal mom is actually a former high-end thief in the witness protection program. The movie kind of reminds me of Spy Kids in a way, so I guess it kind of drew a lot of attention from you guys, so that came in at number four. Number five is The Umbrella Academy, and there's so much goodness about this series. I finally was able to binge seasons 1 and 2 in one shot last week. I will create a separate video to talk about it because there's a lot to dive into there, but that still reigns really strong here in the top 10, so that comes in at number 5. Number 6, you have The Legend of Korra, the popular Nickelodeon spin-off show of Airbender. And basically, I'm not surprised it's in the top 10 because they just released this series on Netflix about a week or two ago. So now that Airbender, Avatar The Last Airbender has been on Netflix for some time now, people have been clamoring for the next installment, which was this spin-off there. So that comes in at number 6. Number 7 is the new video game docuseries High Score. And I did watch this last week as well. This was one of the things I caught over the weekend. And I will have a review about this docuseries with Paul of Paul Programs. If you guys don't know, we do a Nerds to Men podcast, so we're going to be reviewing it on Wednesday. So I'll make sure to have the clip out here on the channel once we do that review. But overall, I thought it was very decently done. I do have some gripes on it, but also I am a little biased given the fact that I have a rich history in the game industry and I know a lot of the stories that were unveiled here. So I felt like a lot of it was just a regurgitation of the things that I already knew. But for those who don't know anything about the industry or the history of video games, I highly recommend this. This is a good way to get yourself caught up with all of that. At number 8, you have a new animated series called Hoops. Hoops is produced by Lord and Miller, and basically it's about a foul-mouthed high school basketball coach who is confident and he'll make the big leagues if he can, only to turn around his terrible team. So I haven't heard much about this, but I know it's a brand new series on Netflix there, and Netflix has done a pretty decent job with a lot of these animated programs that they've been coming up with that's more geared towards the adult audience. So I'm not surprised again that this is in the top 10. At number 9, something for the family and for the kids, you have Mr. Peabody and Sherman, which is a movie that came out in 2014. And this is, these two characters were very popular spin-offs from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show from way back in the day. So this gets the CG treatment and in animated movie form. So that comes in at number 9. And to round out the top 10, you have the I don't know if you want to call it a documentary series, or it's more of like those reality fixer-upper type of shows called Rust Valley Restorers, which is a series that kind of follows this group that works in this kind of junkyard, and they basically restore old automobiles. So that comes in at number 10 there, and that's what you guys have been pretty much watching and catching up on over the weekend. So, like as always, let me know your thoughts on anything that you may have caught that has been on this list, or maybe something that isn't. If you have any recommendations to watch, I feel like there's always something to watch. And, like myself, I've been extremely busy trying to catch up on things. I've watched all seasons of The Umbrella Academy. I watched that new movie, An American Pickle, on Hulu. I Lovecraft Country, which I will talk about later. So a lot of things to watch right now. And now with some of the Hollywood studio movies coming out, there's going to be additional things to catch up on. And you have a series like The Boys coming back shortly. So that's going to be coming out relatively soon. I think it's going to be coming out this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, or next week. So a lot of things to watch. I'm excited. Always looking forward to watching new things. So like I mentioned before, the weekend was pretty much owned by DC, and because DC held their Fandome online convention showcase, which ran for 24 hours. And I believe what they said too was that this is a first part in a 2-part thing that they're doing. So they're going to have another showcase in about a month or two. But they revealed a ton of stuff. So let's just dive into it and go over what they revealed here. But the one that everyone has been talking about is the Matt Reeves The Batman teaser was finally released. And it was interesting that they were able to show us something here. And boy, did they ever. Because the movie is only about 25% filmed. It's only been shot 25% of it. But with just 25%, we were able to get a good sense of the kind of the feeling, the how this movie is going to be panning out. We got to see basically Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Batman in this trailer, and it looks badass. It really does. You can tell that the main villain here is going to be the Riddler. You have Russell Crowe, who you get to see his version of the Penguin very briefly in this trailer. You see a glimpse of Catwoman. Obviously you saw Commissioner Gordon there before, but the movie we're going back into the dark and gritty and all that, and it looks amazing. It looks rough. Now, keep in mind that this is supposed to be year 2 Batman, so it's not exactly like a full-fledged out Batman, and it's not year 1 either. So that means he already has some sense of what he's doing, but I'm sure a lot of it he's still trying to figure out. Everything still looks pretty new to him and really raw, as you could see in this fight scene here. I feel like this was kind of a welcoming of Pattinson into the action superhero genre, and with people always comparing him to what he did on Twilight, this is like, take that, Twilight, I'll show you. But yeah, the movie looks amazing. I'm extremely now excited to see what this movie is gonna be about, or how it's gonna come about. But it looks just like what I want in a Batman movie, and I think Pattinson's gonna kill it. I really do think he's gonna kill it. I think a lot of people were kind of ragging on the choice and all that, but I think overall this is gonna it might surprise a lot of people. So I'm definitely gonna give it a shot. And again, it was just nice to see something from this production. I know because of COVID, things have been delayed and all that stuff like that. But I think everyone was kind of wondering what's gonna happen with the Batman. How is this new Batman gonna look like? Are we gonna have to go through another origin, an origin storyline? Um, are we gonna be inundated with villains like they've done so many times before? And even though you do see the Penguin in there, you do see Catwoman. I think these are just like little cameos or glimpses of what's happening. I don't think they're gonna be major parts in the movie. At least I hope not, because it's gonna make the movie very confusing. But I'm excited to see how the Riddler is going to be portrayed, and that's going to be extremely fun and exciting to see. So, totally excited about that. But that's just one thing that they released over the weekend. Then we were treated with a kind of a look. Oops, sorry about that. Looks like you have an ad playing. One of the wonders of YouTube, but we got a sneak peek of the cast of characters for James Gunn's new The Suicide Squad. So basically, I don't know if you would want to call this a teaser, but this is more like a roll call of all the characters that are going to be shown within this movie. And it's a huge cast, and they got a lot of good people in here. Obviously you get to see Harley Quinn obviously is in here. Then you got to see Polka Dot Man, by David Asmussen, which I love him as an actor. So I'm really looking forward to see how he's going to portray that character. We saw Amanda Waller. We saw Idris Elba here. And I think the big standout was King Shark. And I think the rumor is Taika Waititi might be the voice of King Shark here, because he is in this movie. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see. But I think this movie is going to be batshit bananas, which is basically, on par with James Gunn. And we saw what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. And I can only imagine what he can do here, especially with this huge group of characters. Nathan Fillion, John Cena, just to name a few. Pete Davidson we saw there. Sean Gunn, his brother, again, is playing another CG character. Jai Courtney, Boomerang is back. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's just going to be a lot of fun to watch. Alongside with this, they also released kind of a behind-the-scenes featurette that kind of shows them filming on set and them talking about the production and all that, which was kind of cool to see. But yeah, it was just a quick tease, something that whets our appetite here for the upcoming James Gunn iteration of the Suicide Squad. So really looking forward to seeing that. Then we also got a tease, and of course we get another ad there, but that should be done momentarily. But we got a tease of Black Adam. So this is more of like a comic book like artist rendition of what the Black Adam universe and movie's gonna look like. However, you did have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson narrating throughout the whole trailer, and basically it just gives us a look and glimpse of what the Black Adam movie will be looking like once it's finally filmed and in production. So we got a lot of stills, a lot of it reminds me a lot of like those motion comics that they do when they kind of bring some of the comic series and storylines to video form, but all they do is just use the same panels from the comic books and just slightly animate them. This is what it kind of reminds me of. So some of these things we've seen before. We've seen The Rock in the Black Adam outfit, but we kind of get a sense of the scope of the universe that they're going to be introducing. But one of the most interesting things that came out alongside with this was, we had the standalone kind of teaser of Black Adam, but then they released another trailer in conjunction with this that shows Black Adam introducing the Justice Society of America, which I'm really excited about. So I guess all of that is going to be within this one particular one particular movie, because they never announced that they were doing a Justice Society of America movie. But I guess within this movie, we're going to be introduced to Hawkman and Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone. I'm so excited about Dr. Fate. And it'll be interesting to see how they do Atom Smasher, which is like their version of Ant-Man in a way. He has the ability to grow really big and all that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this group comes together and what big of an impact is going to be within the Black Adam universe. But it looks extremely awesome. Again, this is just all artist renditions and all that. No live footage, no costumes or anything like that. But just the potential here is really intriguing to me, and they're really diving more into kind of the science and magic realm within the DC universe. For those of you who never read the comics or even followed like the animated series and the cartoons of like Justice League and all that, Dr. Fate is the one that I'm extremely looking forward to. There's so much story within him, and his abilities and all that. So really, really excited about that. So yeah, so we saw that. And then of course we get a new Zack Snyder trailer for his Snyder cut of the Justice League, coming out on HBO Max next year. So within this little trailer, and I know a lot of people have been talking about why is it not in widescreen? Why is it in that little pan and scan 4:3 format? We don't know. There are a lot of jokes about it. Oh, it's going to be a Quibi series, or this is only meant to be watched on cell phones and all that. But within here, you could kind of already sense there's a different tone in the movie. There's a lot of scenes that were cut from the original movie, but scenes that we've seen in past trailers, but we never saw in the movie itself. But you could see the stories are already very different. There's a lot of focus within Cyborg and his storyline, and you see him more and interact with his father. You see the Flash, you see more backstory with the Flash here. You saw Superman in the black outfit finally. So you could tell that it's already telling a different story from what we got from Joss Whedon. So really, really interesting to see. And then of course you get the full version of Darkseid here, which I believe is going to be that flashback or that dream sequence that Bruce Wayne Batman goes through. But yeah, like a lot of the scenes here that they're showing right now, we never saw before. So really, really interesting stuff. We still have to wait till next year to see what's going to happen here. But Zack Snyder has been giving us a lot of stuff to ponder about. He's been adding like things like this. He's been like teasing us on Twitter, providing screenshots, little tidbits here and there about the script. So he's in full production, and we are finally going to be getting this. And so far, it's looking very interesting. I'll hold judgment until it finally comes out. But yeah, I think a lot of people who've been clamoring for the Snyder Cut is going to be eagerly anticipating the release of this. So we get that. Shazam, they made an announcement about Shazam, the title of the Shazam sequel, which will be called Shazam Fury of the Gods, and an interesting casting where they casted Sinbad, the comedian actor, to be in the movie. So I don't know what character he's going to be playing in that, and I can't even remember the last time we saw Sinbad on screen, whether it be on TV or in a movie. So really, really interesting stuff there. James Wan, the director of Aquaman, said that the sequel will be a little bit more serious and more relevant in today's world. So I guess it'll be Aquaman dealing with COVID underwater or something like that. I don't know. But they did confirm Patrick Wilson will return as Ocean Master for that movie. Milestone made a surprise announcement that they are in serious talks about bringing Static Shock to the big screen as a live action feature. I know there are a lot of fans of the Milestone properties, especially Static Shock. So this was a huge surprise to a lot of people and got a lot of buzz over the weekend. And then we also got another, and I believe this is a final trailer of Wonder Woman 1984. And within this trailer, we get to see a little bit more about the storylines. We get to see a little bit more interaction with Chris Pine and kind of like the surprise to Diana when he finally comes back. A lot of action, a lot of humor in here, but the big thing that we finally saw was that we got to see Kristen Wiig fully fleshed out, looking like Cheetah, which drew a lot of mixed reactions online. So basically, the CG looks a little like, raw, a little off. But I think the major problem a lot of people had was that based on this trailer alone, and again, this is just based on the trailer, it looks like the conflict between Cheetah and Wonder Woman is that, Cheetah is just jealous of Wonder Woman's popularity, fame, and beauty, and that's kind of what gets her to going on. It's not revenge, but something. It gets her angry, and all of a sudden, catfight. And like during this scene, I was a little like, is she just gonna be fighting her in this leopard print outfit, and that's kind of how they're gonna do Cheetah? But no, we do get to see Cheetah in full form within the movie and within this trailer. So I mean, I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman. I really liked Wonder Woman. I mean, the third act within the original Wonder Woman kind of fell apart for me, but I do love the interaction that she has with Chris Pine. And like I said, this trailer had a lot of like cool comedy bits, and you could see like the humor, and that chemistry is still there between the two. And then I'm interested to see how they're going to flesh out the whole Cheetah storyline here. So really excited to see this. It's still on track to release, I believe, November, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're saying it's going to be coming out to theaters only. So we will wait to see what happens there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and it's nice that we were able to get to see a little bit more of this upcoming movie from Patty Jenkins here. So now that was just all within the movie world from DC and Warner Brothers. Then they go ahead and throw a lot of news about video games. And we got two major announcements on video games here. And I have a feeling I'm going to be getting an ad playing really soon. So let's just make sure I circumvent that. But one of the video games that was announced was the eagerly anticipated Batman Gotham Knights. This has been kind of teased by Warner Brothers Games Montreal. Without any details. We don't know what the game was going to be like. We don't know anything about it. We just knew that they were working on a new video game. But they finally released its trailer, and they also released a gameplay walkthrough of the game itself, which is still in development. But basically, you within this storyline, Batman's dead. The Batcave has been completely obliterated. So now it's up to the rest of the Bat family to kind of find out what happened and get to the bottom of things and protect Gotham from all the criminals and villains running amok while figuring out what happened to Bruce Wayne and Batman. So here you get to play as Robin, Red Hood, Nightwing, and Batgirl. And it looks like it has similar gameplay features and an archetype of the Arkham series, but with RPG elements to them, based on the gameplay footage that they showed us. It looks like you have certain power-ups, you have villains with different types of weaknesses and attack points. But the great thing here is that it is also co-op. So It features co-ops. Right now, they only show two-player co-op, but it looks like you could team up with somebody to go on these missions and adventures together. It kind of looks like their answer to Marvel's Avengers that is being released by Square Enix next month. Um, and to be quite honest with you, limiting it to just two people can solve a lot of the problems that I saw with the Marvel's Avengers game. And the team ups that you have with the two people shown in the gameplay footage that they released looked really exciting and interesting. They had duo finishers and all that. But each character obviously has their own specialties, and they were able to showcase a little bit more of that within the gameplay footage. So I know the reactions online were kind of mixed about this, but I think it looks promising. I think it looks like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. I mean, we'll have to wait until next year for this to come out and before we could try it out. But from what I could tell from the gameplay footage, it looks like it could be potentially a lot of fun, especially when you team up with a buddy of yours online. One thing to note, this does not take place in the same universe as the Arkham series. It looks like it is in an alternate reality, or another universe, because there are some things that were kind of shown here that contradicts everything that happened in the previous three games. So if you're looking for like a direct sequel to the Arkham series, this is not going to be it. Even though it starts off as if it may be picking things up where the last Arkham game left off, but this is supposed to be a completely different universe. So, and I think it's going to be fun just to play the other Bat characters. Like I think I've been waiting for a moment where I could actually play Robin and Nightwing and Batgirl. Batgirl looks amazing, and with her fighting abilities and all that, very similar to Black Widow. But as you could see in the trailer here, they revealed that it looks like the Court of Owls will be a major storyline in this game. And for those of you who've read the Court of Owls storyline within the Batman comic books, very intriguing storyline, and really probably one of the better Batman storylines in recent years that I read. So really, really looking forward to see how that's going to be played out within the game. So like I said, the potential is there. I will hold judgment until I actually get to sit down and play it, or at least see additional gameplay footage and learn more about the storyline altogether. But really fun stuff. But the video game news doesn't stop there. Rocksteady also went ahead and teased us. No gameplay footage here. Again, ad. Gotta love these ads. I understand, as being a streamer and content creator myself on YouTube and Twitch, I understand the importance of ads. So, and I do come from an advertising world, so I am a little bit more patient than others, but I could see why you people gripe about it for sure. But Rocksteady teases us with a trailer of their new Suicide Squad game. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And Rocksteady, as you know, they're the ones who kind of created the whole Arkham series. So this does actually take place within the same universe. That was confirmed by them over the weekend. And basically, within this trailer, you get to see something major happen in Metropolis. You see Brainiac is behind it all. And for some reason, which is later on revealed towards the end of the trailer, Superman has turned bad. And it's up to the wacky cast of characters from the Suicide Squad to try to take him down. Again, no gameplay footage here, but you got to see kind of like the voice acting, the characters that are going to be available in the game. And you have four. So you have Harley Quinn, you have Captain Boomerang, you have King Shark, and I'm forgetting the fourth one. But I'm sure if I watch the trailer a little bit longer, my questions will be answered here. But regardless, basically, it's up to the four characters to. Oh, of course, you have Deadshot. But you have these four characters that are trying to take down apparently Superman and maybe possibly the rest of the Justice League. but this is also going to be 4-player co-op. So again, comparing to Marvel's Avengers, looks like DC has 2 games that are going to be competing against that same type of gameplay there. So I feel like without even seeing any gameplay footage, this is definitely going to be more in line with how the Marvel's Avengers game will be like, because you do have 4-player co-op and all that. But from what I read, it's 4-player co-op, but then it also, if you're solo, the other 3 characters will be AI controlled, just like Marvel's Avengers. So very, very interesting. And again, we only got teased with the cinematic, and it looks like it's going to be another romp here. I'm interested to hear more about the storyline, especially since you got these guys going against Superman and all that, and then Brainiac must be somehow the puppet master behind it all. But yeah, this unfortunately we have to wait a little longer for. So this is slated to come out in 2022. So, but big news overall. Big news coming out from over the weekend. With all of these releases, and that's just part 1. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with their secondary showcase, which I have a feeling it's going to be more geared towards their comic book lines and possibly merchandise, and maybe more about their TV. I mean, we did get teased with a new trailer of the new season of The Flash, but it'll be interesting to hear more about what's going to happen with the DC universe and HBO Max, and if they're finally going to just roll everything under HBO Max, which it already looks like they're going to do. So a lot of fun stuff there, guys. Prior to the weekend, and this may be old news for a lot of you guys, but it was confirmed that both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton will reprise their roles as Batman / Bruce Wayne in the upcoming Flash movie. So the speculation, and something that I already kind of felt like they were going to do anyway, the multiverse is going to be introduced into the movie universe. So it'll be interesting to see all the iterations of the Batman. You got your Keaton, you got your Affleck. Will Pattinson be in it too? I don't know. But I feel like anything related to the Flash movie is so up in the air, because I don't know what's going on with that movie. The change of directors, the things that's going on with Ezra Miller choking people out in Iceland. I don't know what's happening. They didn't even address any of that. So that was some news that broke like before the weekend. But yeah, they dropped a ton of stuff on us, and it's a lot of exciting stuff and a lot of stuff that people are still talking about even today. So what caught your attention? What are the things that you're looking forward to? What are the things that maybe you have gripes with? Leave your comments in the chat. Be interested to hear your thoughts on all of that stuff there. So good stuff all around, guys. In other news that is not related to DC, for a change, the live action Mulan. So we all know that the live action Mulan will be released on Disney Plus as a premium video on demand purchase for $29.99. They announced that they made a deal, and it will also now be available on other platforms outside of Disney Plus. So now people can get it through iTunes, Google Play, and Roku on the same day when it releases on Disney Plus, September 24th. So they're increasing their distribution there, wanting to get more people access to their movie, and I think that's a smart move so that they don't have to be tied just to their own platform. And plus, I think it's a little bit of a good faith too to the audience, like, all right guys, we're not going to force you to sign up for our Disney Plus service just to watch this movie and to pay an additional fee for it. If you don't have it, you could still pay an additional fee for it, but through another platform. So in a platform that is easily accessible to a lot of people. No Amazon though, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to strike a deal on Amazon, or even want to decide to put it on Amazon at all, given that Amazon is a direct competitor to Disney Plus when it comes to streaming platforms. So we'll see what happens, but at least more people will be able to catch Mulan when it comes out on September 24th there. In very interesting news also that came out, Powerpuff Girls. So if you're like me, you remember the Cartoon Network had this um, kind of their heyday of Cartoon Network original animated shows. You had Dexter's Laboratory, Ed and Eddie, and the Powerpuff Girls. Um, this came out during a time when Cartoon Network was really blowing up, and when they came out with these originals, like it got big even more, and everyone was always talking about Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls was such a huge hit with the female audience, with girls across the world and the nation. And it was a very well done series. It was kind of done in like that campy, old school kind of animated storyline. And where you had a professor that kind of built these three girls to kind of be his daughters, and then they, had these superpowers, so now they could fight crime too. You had funny villains that they had to go against, and the writing and dialogue was so well done. So now it appears that the CW is beginning development of the Powerpuff Girls, but as a live action remake. Um, um, from compared to the original animated series there. So the original series ran 6 seasons, and like I said, it was it centered around these three girls, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. So now in this new version that they're working on, the girls are now disillusioned 20 somethings who resent having lost their childhood because of crime fighting. And then basically the whole thing is that will they agree to reunite now that the world needs them more than ever? So it sounds like they're going to be kind of playing on the part that when they came out in the animated form they were girls, and then as the years has gone by they grew up and now they're in modern time as 20 something year olds. And obviously we know the landscape of the world right now. Will they decide to regroup and help fight all the stuff that's happening now? Mojo Jojo, will he be in it? Will he be this older monkey? I don't know. But the project hails from Diablo Cody, who was responsible for Juno and Jennifer's Body. You have Heather Rainier, who was involved with Veronica Mars, and mega producer Greg Berlanti, who is responsible for The Flash and Riverdale. So they're all they're all producing alongside Sarah Schneckner and David Madden for Warner Brothers Television and Berlanti Productions. So I don't know if when this series will come into fruition. No date was provided. It looks like they're just starting development on it right now. Will it be on the CW? Or will it be on Hulu? Don't know, because Hulu landed the exclusive streaming rights for the Powerpuff Girls back in 2016. So right now you could watch the classic series there, and oh, I forgot, they even came out with the reboot series too. I totally forgot about that. I never watched it myself. I think nothing compares to the original, but yeah, I thought this was very interesting news. I mean, with the premise alone, does this sound like it's a Powerpuff Girls show you want to watch? I feel like it's hit or miss when they decide to go this type of route where they move from animation to live action, and they try to put it in a more modern setting too. And especially when you develop them into a form where now they're adults, right? Now that sounds better than maybe making live action kids again. But if you looked at another comparison, what they did with Riverdale, right? Riverdale is based on the Archie series, comic series, animated series, just the franchise as a whole. They started off as these 2D representations into a live action format, and they changed the story 100%, into a different way where it's more gloomy and bleak and very modern, and they deal with so many issues that you never thought the Archie team would have to deal with when you used to read them or watch them back in the day. Kind of like a Twin Peaks spin on it, or what have you. So it'll be interesting how they're gonna, what the tone is going to be like for this series. You know, is it going to be very, very serious? Will it be some aspects of comedy? I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, they did this also with Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which, you know, got a lot of fan attention and, you know, was really well received until Netflix decided to cancel it. So yeah, very interesting. I don't know if this is something that I want or I would be looking forward to, but i- if it turns out to be something that like a Riverdale, then you may have piqued my interest. So we'll see how it goes, or if they kind of make it within the same tone as the Arrowverse that's running right now. I don't know, but yeah, very very interesting stuff there, and I'm looking forward to see what they come up with. Lastly, on my news here, you have Netflix released the trailer of Cobra Kai. Now that, you know, Cobra Kai is going to be able to be seen by more people who decided not to pay an additional fee every month for YouTube Premium, Red, whatever you call it. And it's funny how I'm saying that while showing this video off of YouTube. But yeah, season 1 and 2 of Cobra Kai is coming out August 28th. So this is a trailer that's kind of just reintroducing this series to the audience, to the general public, and letting everyone know that the seasons are coming. But the great thing about it here is that towards the end, we do get a glimpse of season 3, which is set to debut next year. And it does look like you have LaRusso going back to Japan, unveiling some secrets that Mr. Miyagi may have kept from him. So we don't know why he decides to go there in the first place. Could it have anything to do with that secret, or is it something that was revealed because once he was there? I don't know, but I've watched seasons 1 and 2 on YouTube, and I loved it, and I've been talking so much about it, recommending it to people left and right. This is a series that deserves more eyes on, and I can't wait for more people to watch this once it hits Netflix. It keeps the same 80s tone, but still keeping it very modern. The relationships and chemistries of all the characters, the switch in dynamics, you know, where it's like maybe LaRusso was the jerk and was the asshole instead of the other guy. You know, like it's very interesting how they play with that kind of storyline, and they put a twist to it. Now they got kids involved in it and all that. And the ending of season 2 was bananas, really, really bananas. And I know some people had issues with it because it looks like it viewed off of reality, because the whole series was touted as being real. It felt real. It felt like this could really be happening today. And then it just went Daredevil. It went straight Daredevil, and that's all I'll say since a lot of you didn't see it. But I'm looking forward to. I've already rewatched season 1 twice. So when this comes out on Netflix, maybe I'll just do another rewatch of seasons 1 and 2, because it is worth watching there. But I'm looking forward to hear what you guys think once you finally watch it yourselves. So that is all about the news there. Like I mentioned earlier, I've watched a lot of stuff recently, catching up on Umbrella Academy. Watching movies. I've been following up and catching up on Muppets Now, and when the first episode of Muppets Now came out, I was extremely excited. I was extremely happy. I loved it. Now that we're 4 episodes in, I like the series, but I do have some gripes, and I think instead of going through it now, I'll probably make a separate video once we get the 5th episode. So I'll do like episodes 1 to 5 and a comparison there of how I feel from the beginning to how I feel now. I think one of the things that the series suffers from is that they rely too much on the same jokes, which funny the first time, still somewhat funny the second time, but once you keep repeating it in almost every episode, that's when it gets a little bit too much, and I'm like, all right, you're digging from the same well over and over again. So But I'll save that review for a different episode. But what I really, really want to talk about now is Lovecraft Country. So Lovecraft Country is the new series on HBO Max. Um, and basically it now, full disclosure, I've never read any of the H.P. Lovecraft novels. I am a little bit familiar with his with his writings and his storylines and kind of like the creatures that he comes up with and the origins, of where they're from. But basically, it's Lovecraft Country is a horror drama series that is developed by Misha Green, based on a 2016 novel. You have J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele, who are producers of this show. So obviously, a lot of people were like really, really looking forward to seeing what they can come up with here. And the story itself is about a young black man who travels across the segregated 1950s U.S. in search of his missing father, learning of dark secrets plaguing a town on which famous horror writer H.P. Lovecraft supposedly based the location of many of his fictional tales. That's pretty much the overall premise of the show. The first episode, we get a good introduction to the main characters, who you're going to be following through this storyline, and then season 2 dives a little bit more deeper into the backstory and starts their journey looking for the main character's father. And the main characters is Atticus Freeman, and let's go into here. So Atticus Freeman is played by Jonathan Majors, who, if you've watched The Five Bloods, he played the son of one of the main characters there. It was the only son that joined them on that journey. So if you know what I'm talking about, if you watch that movie. You have Letitia Letty, played by Janae Smollier. And then you have Hippolyta Freeman, who is Atticus's aunt, played by I hope I'm not butchering this name, Onjanae Ellis. And you have his uncle George Freeman, played by Courtney B. Vance. So those are like kind of like the main characters there, without going further into who the other characters are. But the series starts off, okay, before I even go on, big spoiler alert. All right, I may go into some details that could be considered spoilers, so just a heads up warning for all of you guys if you haven't watched it yet. But that's your warning, and here I go. So the series starts off completely nutty. It starts off with a dream sequence that Atticus is having. Atticus was in the Vietnam War, and you could tell he just recently came back from the war. And is it the Vietnam War? Hold on one second. I just want to get my story straight here, but it may not be the Vietnam War, but it was definitely a war, or he saw war. But anyway, let's go past that. Basically, you could tell he was dreaming about his time at the war, but the war is not the war that we would normally think of. So basically, right from the beginning, you get to see H.P. Lovecraft explosion. It's like you have UFOs, and then you have War of the Worlds looking like creatures running around and killing people. Then you have Cthulhu's showing up out of nowhere. You have alien queens coming down from the sky and all that, and then he wakes up, and then now we're back into reality, and the show starts off so nutty like that. You already had me intrigued, right? But basically, you have Atticus coming back from war into this Jim Crow type of U.S., and obviously it plays very heavy on the racial issues from back in the day. His uncle has this business where he plans out safe travel itineraries for African Americans of that time. And they have a job to do and they have a trip to take, and Letitia was part of that as they map out safe routes for African Americans to travel through. But at the same time, you have Atticus, who has this mystery upon him, is that his dad's missing. He gets this mysterious note as to where his whereabouts may be, and he's trying to figure out where his dad is and to go rescue him. And his uncle and Letitia, who was a childhood friend, decides to help him out and join him. And then during this journey, they come across all these weird instances, because one of the things that they found out was that apparently his uncle is a heavy reader, and so was his dad, and they did have a love for Lovecraft and all that. And it looks like his possible whereabouts is this town in Massachusetts, which is one of the main towns where Lovecraft based a lot of his stuff on. So there was discussions about, is this a real place? You can't even find it on the map. And as they're slowly unraveling all the details of this town and where his possible father could be, they come across these weird forces that are showing up out of nowhere. And then but by the time you get in deep into episode 2, you come across where there is this secret society, and they're trying to figure out, what's this society have to do with the disappearance of his father? Why is his father so important? Why is now Atticus a target for all this? And it turns out that Atticus may have been a descendant of one of the main leaders of this society, which was called Sons of Adam ceremony, where it's kind of a cult that believes in the Adam and Eve, the creation of humankind and animals and all that, and kind of finding ways to preserve immortality during ceremonies and all that. And I'm making it very simplified for a lot of you guys, and just for sake of time and all that. But it is a weird journey so far, but one that I am extremely intrigued about, especially because you have supernatural elements, you have real world racial tensions, and you have actually really great acting too. But it kind of reminds me of, I guess if you had to compare it to something, it would be kind of like a Watchmen, but without the superheroes, more on the supernatural. But you have, like I said, the racial tension storyline, you have the supernatural storyline, you have the Lovecraftian universe that you're now involved in. So we're only 2 episodes in, and I feel like there's a lot more to be unveiled and uncovered, especially with the way episode 2 ended, because it looks like they're going to be back on the road again. It also kind of reminds me of Preacher. Preacher is another good comparison in there. So if you mix all those things together, this is kind of the story that you're getting. And I know I'm not really revealing too much here, but I do like it so far. It is very, very intriguing, very interesting. It actually got me to read up a little bit more about Lovecraft and his world, and kind of the details of all of his stories, and all that. Because I know there has been some controversy around Lovecraft. Apparently Lovecraft was racist, or some of his stories maybe had some racism things in there. I'm not really too sure 100%. I'm still reading up on it. But the universe that they are building here, and that they're having their main characters go through, is very intriguing and very interesting, and it does make me want to learn more about it as I watch the series as it progresses. So but let's talk about the acting. I mean, the standouts for me, there's one major standout, and that's Jurnee Smollett. And I really hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Journee, Jurnee, small a. Um, I was not aware of her until I started watching this, but then I started like looking back. Like I said, I started doing some research and all that. I guess she's been in films and TV before. Apparently, she was in True Blood, which I don't remember because I did watch that show, that series religiously. But as of recent, she played Black Canary in the DC Extended Universe, making her first appearance in Birds of Prey, which I didn't watch. I didn't really watch Birds of Prey, so that was back in 2018. So being introduced to her for the first time in this series, she is amazing. She, for me, is a major standout in this series. She has that sass, and she plays a no nonsense woman and all that. She's extremely kick ass, but also very vulnerable too. She plays those roles very evenly, and I can tell like she's gonna be the major standout in this series for me. And then you have, Jonathan Majors, which I did kind of like him in True Bloods. Not True Blood, sorry, The Five Bloods. And he is playing somewhat of a different character in this series, but The Five Bloods, he played kind of like that son wanting father's approval and all that stuff like that. And you did see a little glimpse of his action capabilities and all that. Here, you're starting to see a little bit more of his breadth of his acting, and I think so far he's doing a really great job in it. It's still early on to tell, but he also seems very, very, very vulnerable. He's a very vulnerable type of character, somewhat similar to what he was in The Five Bloods. But we got to see a little bit more action in here. Courtney B. Vance as the uncle is hilarious. I feel like for me, he's a little bit more of the comic relief of the trio. And then as this second episode ends, you do get to see the father, unveiled, and it's Michael K. Williams. So if you ever watch Boardwalk Empire, you already know what strong of an actor he is. We didn't really get to see too much of him because it was just like a brief, like, oh, there you are, let's get you out of here, kind of thing like that. So I'm sure we're going to see more of him as the series progresses. So so far so good, I have to say. I still think it's very early, but in typical J.J. Abrams and now Jordan Peele, they do have similarities when it comes to keeping things very secret and unveiling a lot of twists and turns. So I'll be interesting to see like what other surprises that they're going to be coming up with in upcoming and future episodes, because I do feel like there's still a lot that we're not sure about. There's a lot of stuff that we still don't understand, and I think it's going to be like that slow unveiling that maybe towards the halfway point, or maybe not until the end, we're going to be like, boom, mind blown, like this is crazy, and I didn't realize it was going to be all like this. So I do recommend you guys check it out. It's like I said, with so much stuff available to watch nowadays, it's nice to watch something that is intriguing, somewhat thought-provoking, but also has some ties back to actual history, when it comes to the 1950s America back then. So very, very good stuff there. And I honestly, I even think season 2 of Umbrella Academy did a good job with that too. But instead of the 50s, you had the 60s going on over there. So yeah, so that's my brief little 2-cent reviews of the first 2 episodes. As more and more episodes come out and the more I watch of it, the more I'm going to probably talk about my feelings and thoughts of the overall series. But have you watched it? Is it something that you've seen? Is it something that you were on the fence of and then maybe you're interested to watch it now? Again, let me know your thoughts in the chat. I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys think about that. Or if you don't mind and you like watching live, video game playing and all that, you could, catch me on Twitch. I have conversations with people all the time. It's not always about what I'm playing too. I enjoy these conversations. You know, I've had people mention things about the videos or movie news and all of that in the chat there. So do check me out. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with an occasional weekend here and there. So do check me out. But guys, that's the show. That's the time. So thank you so much again for watching. Please do me a favor. If you like what you see, help support the channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. It really goes a long way with the support of the channel, getting myself in the algorithm mix of the YouTube universe, getting more eyes on the channel, getting more eyes on the videos. You know, all I'm trying to do here is talk about things that I love, and that's pop culture. And hopefully I can build a great community here so that we can all talk about it and all enjoy our passions within this pop culture universe. So again, thank you so much for watching. I'll be catching you guys again next Monday, and I'll make sure to have these episodes a little bit more frequently on Mondays at 7 p.m. Do stay tuned to the channel because I will be releasing other videos about reviews, and you get to see some video game reviews in there as well. And you'll catch myself and Paul, the Nerds to Men podcast that is on every Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch exclusively. So, but I do like to upload highlights and clips on the channel as well, so do check it out. But until next time, guys, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe, wash your hands, wear that mask. It does help, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Catch you later. Peace.